me being a content creator, international Black American content creator, I've been jumping in the forefront of multiple international situations pertaining to the negative stigma that's been painted on Americans and Black Americans as well. This has come with tons of positive reinforcements and tons of positive things, but at the same time, it also comes with a lot of negatives when you are the face and you are the person that's jumping to the forefront. I'm blessed and grateful that my community alone could sit down and look at me and be like, yo, Adonis, you gotta say something to this. I trust in what you gotta say. I trust in what you want to do. On the other hand, that comes with a whole much other things. The world is bigger than just America. So you have tons of international people who are always coming to fight the final boss. Now, I'm gonna be frank with you. Just me saying the final boss got me feeling a little bit diabolical, but it is what it is, I've always came from this from an educational, informative perspective. Although people from different countries might see it from a different way, I like to have interesting conversations, and I don't want to catch myself. Hear me when I say this. I really don't want to catch myself jumping or diving into the deep and to become the same type of Black American that I despise in my own particular community. Now you're sitting here wondering, what are those type of people that you despise? I feel like, what is the saying? Someone commented the statement like, you start off as the hero, then you live long enough to see yourself become the villain or something like that, And I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people who fixate or do things in excess. Anything in excess is bad. Let's be honest, And I feel like throughout time and you talking about particular different types of things, your character starts to mold into somebody, and not everybody, but your character starts to mold into a particular version of yourself that you don't really necessarily want it to become. But for the actual theatrics of making content and making it interesting and intriguing and blowing it up, you just subtle things about your character trait just tweaks and becomes, radicalized. I'm not saying everybody, but we all can agree to that particular point, And these are just my thoughts and my stories and how I'm particularly feeling at this moment in time. So I'm going to try to be honest, straightforward. And if you're like this video before I even said this right now, you're a true legend. And if you haven't liked the video yet, give this video a like. All right. Because I really want to document how I feel about this right now. So I've been traveling around the world, to a lot of different places. London, Romania, I'm in different places. And I've been having this conversation, this Black conversation, which I feel like has definitely limited me as a creator, but not in like me being a Black American has limited me, or me talking about Black Americans. Nah, it kind of it's kind of like a cheat code to its own particular default. Like, I always said to myself, I said, bro, Adonis, this is not all you are. You being Black is not all you are. Don't make it your particular identity. So many different other things uniquely amazing about yourself, but you being Black is not the only thing that makes you unique. And that's for everybody that watches this particular situation. And although it is a good talking point, and I never wanted my audience to feel like they had a place where they can trauma bond. Certain places you go to and you want to have the Black conversation, you want to kind of trauma bond. If you don't know what trauma bond is, can someone please comment the definition of trauma bond in the chat? And I started off by making content traveling around the world, but I started realizing that a lot of people had negative stigmas towards Americans, but it was always towards Black Americans. They never really classified everybody else as American, or they never really classified Black Americans as American. And then that whole conversation kind of spilled over, And for a while, I say, you know what, I'm going to counteract this particular situation because no one in Europe, there's no Black Americans in Europe who can actually counteract this. So I flew out to Europe and made all these different things happen, which I thought was great. I've had some of the most interesting conversations and some of the most interesting video clips and moments, I would say, in Black American culture from an international tip. And I think I've done a great job. I really do. I really think I've done a great job. And sometimes I was a little diabolical, but sometimes, I think I really educated some real interesting people and even educated my own community. I'm sure people who are watching this right now definitely had to learn something. And I've learned throughout this process. I've learned so much about myself throughout making these videos. I've learned so much about our history, our culture, and even, things I didn't even know about other countries and other cultures, and it was a great experience. But then there's always the bad side of these things, like every other week there's someone grabbing up my clips and changing the narrative and trying to create hateful content around my name on multiple different platforms and stuff like that, which paints this type of stigma of my who I am and my brand, or what am I doing. It stops becoming about being black or being a black American or African or whatever, and it starts becoming about this particular person is the problem. You know what I mean? And not the talking point of the conversation. Now, I understand we might both agree or come to the same conclusion that these people are weak, but at the same time, it's just a form for them to actually monetize their platforms. Everyone needs a villain. But what can I say? And that goes for not only for like other countries and other backgrounds, it also goes for my own community. They're the people that want to be in the position that I am in, or become as popular, or feel like you think your shit don't stink, or you think that you're not, I don't know, and they want to become negative and attack and do stuff, and there's large groups of people who feel the same way as them. And I started to realize that recently. At first I thought like, yeah, my community backs me. Americans, my black Americans, they got my back. All FBAs, they all got my back. But then as time started going on, I started really paying attention. And I like to pay attention to what people have to say, what they can say about you. And I'm always listening to what people have to say about me. There's nothing really people can say about me that's actually sticks or actually is like factual clarification of what it is. But the fact that I've seen like several hundreds of people from different parts of America, which is not a lot, but just the fact that I could see these people sit down and say like they don't like me, or this and this and that, and this and this and this, it kind of just made me feel like I'm not gonna help somebody that's shooting me in the foot. You know what I mean? Like I've made a huge sacrifice, and I feel like in my particular community, this is just me though. Like, we don't really have much people to represent on a global scale. We don't really have much people to look at and be like, yo, this is who we should want to root for. This is who we always find these people after they make it. It's like in our community itself, I don't really see much of started from the bottom. Now we here. I always, from my perspective, now you might have a different perspective, but this is just me. I only see like people pop and blow up, and now everybody's backing them. I don't want to turn into one of these black activists on social media, and that's not who I was. I was always about education, always about inspiration, always about growth and being progressive. And I can see how my intelligence or my communication style or my entertainment style can rub people into the negative way, or separate me from a whole large demographic of people, which I don't really want to intend. This is the reason why I tell people not to use certain type of terminology in my comment section and articulate themselves in a completely different way, so I don't create an environment or a room or a space where it allows you to project your negative, toxic perspectives onto other people that are possibly just trying to understand. So for that particular reason, as of right now, I think to make a decision and tell people like my community, I'm going to stop um, addressing the black situation. I'm going to stop making the black content. Uh, the diaspora conversations, the addressing the Africans and addressing the British people and addressing whoever represents this particular situation. Um, Although it's been interesting and educational, but at the same time, there's so much other stuff that I want to do and I want to show. And I don't feel like I have the full support of my particular community. Millions of Black Americans have watched my videos throughout the world. Millions of Black Americans have learned something from it, but I just don't feel like they understand how valuable to have a particular person like me in this position to be able to represent them. And I don't feel like I have the backing of my whole community, or even 75 or 80% of that. So it's due to that, and due to me possibly, right now I'm in a good position, but possibly in the future, you could do one particular thing and then like everyone hates you forever, or it's just like, I'm like, nah. And I know I'd be like, I don't really care about that. Yeah, I understand, but I built all of this stuff for so long. I'm editing these videos. I've been thinking about this all night, you know. I didn't even upload a video yesterday just because I was thinking about how I was going to tell this particular story, but I wanted to just remember this moment in my life and document it. It's like, yeah, I have tons of videos that I could just like address, and people, you know, tons of things that I've seen Africans say, and tons of things I've seen Caribbeans say, and tons of things and on the international tip, you know, tons of different things, you know. And I was going to make a video about it, all these different things, start a series on it and stuff like that, but then I was just like, that's not who I really want to be. And obviously, based off the engagement, based off the viewership, based on the support from our community, that's not who you guys want me to be. So I'm glad I found this early, and I'm glad I was able to acknowledge that it was great, it was a good fun, but now it's time to get back to this travel content. Now it's time to get back to showing my day in the life. Now it's time to get back to inspiring people to do more. Get your head out of the hood, get your mind out of the hood, be more progressive, be more growth wise. That's just me though, you know. I'm currently in Romania at this moment in time, Bucharest, Romania, if you do not know. I've been making a couple of different videos on food content that people are eating outside and abroad. What we Americans eat while they are out here. Been linking up with a couple of different things. A new series is about to start, which I'm going to be creating. I'm in the works of fixing it right now. If you're checking out my YouTube shorts, you'll definitely be aware of what's in the works and what's happening right now. And I just wanted to let you guys know, and just like let you know like where my head was at this moment in time. And I appreciate you guys for supporting. I appreciate everybody who donated in the last live stream, and who donated in the last super chat, and who became members, who supported this channel from day one. I truly do appreciate it. And I felt like it was time to actually take this to the next level. So all I ask is that you please don't only see me one way. My name's AdonisCrashBoom. You guys are watching Adonis Live, and keep in mind, every day is a movie.